So I listened to your album again this morning. I love it. It's great. But I've been familiar with all the songs for a long time. I've played them once. And,
yes. You'll play them again, I'm sure.
Let's take a look at the title for a second. Be content with your light, child. You know how I always say it in my head?
How do you say
Be
it?
content with thy light, child. I don't know why. I up it to a biblical diction.
With thy light.
Yeah. Because I think it's like thy light, thy will, your goat, your car. You know what I mean? It's like one's high, one's... But anyway, what I want to know is this. What that says to me is, and this connects so much to the themes of a number of the songs, be content with your light, child. It seems like you telling yourself or some internalized voice saying, don't dream big. Is that kind of what you mean by it in a way? Like, is there something that's saying scale your expectations? And your album deals so much with themes of rounding the corner into your 30s. Mm-hmm. And I know your biography, your early 20s were an extremely eventful and happening time in your life. And so many of the themes of the album seem to be about rounding this corner. So what does Be Content with Your Light, Child mean to you, and how does it speak to the song?
Well, first and foremost, it's a quote from a variation on Ovid's Metamorphoses from the Greek story of Apollo and Daphne, which are themes that run all over the album. But to really what I mean by that statement and how it spoke to me when I sort of read it, and it jumped out in a new context to me in relation to myself, is not so much scaling back your expectations, but not being singular about them. So being happy and grateful for what you have, and looking at your accomplishments, looking at all the wonderful things that you're able to do as bigger boons than maybe you once did, and being grateful for being alive, being grateful for having healthy relationships in your life, being grateful for having a roof over your head, being grateful for being able to make music and have anybody that cares to listen.
Right.
So I think that when I had that hustle of, I got to do this, I've never really given this the biggest shot, it sort of gave me this pause of, well, what do I really want, you know? And really what I want is to make songs that get something out, and I want whoever's willing to listen and to think about it.
Well, say you got cold, like a draft from an old boat, and it'll be told around the fire like folklore. They'll honor us with all of their pity by feeling kinda sad for a minute. Walk away accomplished and gritty, but underneath their breath they will say this: this is offering. This is offering. This is all awfully stupid.
When you made this record, did you feel sort of behind materially in life? I mean, is that a theme that you feel across the album?
Absolutely. And I'd say that it expands. It includes things in the material sense. It includes things as far as general life accomplishments and creature comforts and adult expectations. It not only includes that things, but for a little while I felt stunted in personal growth regarding how to view yourself in place of the world as you're growing older, and how to contextualize that gratitude of being grateful to be human and be just a contributor. And I felt stunted by the fact that my focus for so long was, I got to be the next Elvis Costello, I got to be the next Bruce Springsteen, like I have to do this huge thing somehow. And everything was poured into that. And then suddenly I was in my late 20s, and I really had a moment there where I said, I actually don't know what I want to do. And it started to crumble this expectation that a passion and a career you either have both that are the same thing, or you're a failure. And I hate that binary, that on or off idea of you're either doing exactly the number one thing you love all the time for money and living on it, or you're a failure. And that's the binary thing that I created in my head, and I needed to start to rethink.
It must be hard to understand, and I'm so jealous that you can. I looked up and saw how everything could crush me. I buried my head down at first, but hiding only made it worse.
All right, last thing. Ready?
Yeah.
So, what I got from the title, and this brings it full circle again, and I didn't mean to imply that it was sort of like the death of dreams or scaled back expectations. That's not exactly what I meant. But if you're saying be content with your light, child, that to me means the light you emanate, the life force within you, whatever you call it, rather than that projected upon you, which would be a metaphor for dreams of fame and for an externally affirmed sense of value and sense of self. And that's kind of what you're after here a little bit.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Well, cool.
Well, and to add to that briefly, hopefully briefly, you know, to talk about the themes of the whole Apollo and Daphne thing. They grace the cover, and there are all these little references all throughout. You know, that there are 2 interlude tracks that are named after those figures in Greek mythology, and there's something about the story of Apollo and Daphne where, you know, Apollo is essentially chasing something he can't have because Daphne doesn't want him. And then it's essentially proven to him, you'll never have her, because her dad turns her into a tree. But he stays anyway. And it's this strange obsession with, well, because maybe it's not about the Daphne, so to speak. You know, maybe it's about something else surrounding this goal. Maybe it's about the chase. Maybe it's about something else. And, you know, which is also interesting because Apollo says to Eros, he's the one, he says to him, be content with your light, child, because he's essentially making fun of Eros for using a war weapon for inflicting emotions like love, etc. Which, oh, holy cow, did I take all kinds of personal context about struggles with typical, you know, upstate New York toxic masculinity to feeling like, you know, the arrows you have in your quiver aren't powerful and aren't meaningful, and what you do naturally is, you know, cute to other people, and they want you to be well and do what you do naturally, but they don't really want you in their clubhouse, and, like, you know, and that's sort of an emotion that I think many have dealt with greatly, and the biggest struggle, I think, after you go through these existential crises of how to be, you know, how to contextualize singular romantic relationships in your life. Once you kind of get past that, and then you're looking at issues of family and how to stay, you know, close with them, and you're looking at issues of career and what that means. And then there are these bigger quandaries of how to be happy with you. And that's the one that I think most of us, if given the proper tools, would avoid at all cost, how to really ask that question. And it's something that I'm not done writing about. And that's really what this album, I think, started asking, and how to be the youest you that you are and be proud of it. And in a world, particularly when it comes to music, you know, creating music, where experimentation and reaching outside of your comfort zone is encouraged and often produces amazing results, but you go just a shade too far, and suddenly your closest loved ones are saying, "Yeah, but do what you do naturally. Don't not be you." And it's this impossible fucking dichotomy between growing and being willing to change, while also getting in touch with what is the spirit of you, what does make you you, and how to sing that and be like,
all
that's right,
all the different lenses and models and philosophies for even determining what a self is. You know what I mean?
And I wonder sometimes if that's a barrier for some people. Once upon a time I was making really energetic power pop anthems about breakups, and it's so much easier to digest than asking these bigger questions.
Yeah, but the thing is, the fun, that's the redeeming value of melody, and the fact that you're such a strong singer is that on one level it works to your advantage that people are going to think you're singing about girls anyway. And then if they get closer to the lyrics and they start to say, there's not quite, there's something else going on in here, well then great. Then
hopefully
that's a win. Yeah. All right, man.
Cheers.